Among the many practical uses of the comma is offsetting and introducing what is known as coordinate elements. This might sound a little complicated, but in practice, it's actually quite simple. So let's learn. Now, let's take a look at how the coordinate element functions. A coordinate element is a part of a sentence, usually that comes at the end, that is dependent on an element that comes before. It provides additional facts that provide context and contrasts the main clause. The important thing here is that the comma signals that two elements that come at the end of the sentence share the same grammatical context that is introduced at the beginning of the sentence. This approach is effective because it allows you to combine two sentences into one and make your writing more concise. Let's say we're doing a sentence on Chick-fil-A. We might begin by saying that Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, and our contrasting sentence might be that Chick-fil-A is not an advocate. In this context, we have two elements that share the same grammatical context. Chick-fil-A is a ... right? Now, initially we're saying that Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, but that second element, not an advocate, shares the same grammatical context as the first element. And now, rather than writing two sentences, we can combine this into one by separating the coordinate element with a comma. Now, let's take a look at an example without the coordinate element so we see how we can make our writing more concise. Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, period, full stop, end of sentence. Now we have that second clause. However, comma, it is not a social justice advocate. In all, we have 12 words to convey these two contrasting thoughts. But if we use the coordinate element, we can make it far more concise. We begin with the same element. Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, but instead of the period, we have a comma, and then we add not a social justice advocate. So Chick-fil-A is a restaurant, not a social justice advocate, and now we have only 9 words, which makes your writing far more concise. A much more famous example of this occurs often in the popular TV show Star Trek, where Dr. Leonard McCoy notes that he is a doctor, and Leonard McCoy is also not an engineer. And again, in this context, we have that grammatical context that Leonard McCoy is, first, a doctor, and second, not an engineer. And these two elements share the same grammatical context. If we're going to express these two contrasting sentiments without a comma and a coordinate element, we need two clauses. I am a doctor, period, full stop, end of sentence. Additional clause, however, comma, I am not an engineer. Now in this context, we have 10 words, but we can reduce that word count significantly by introducing a coordinate element. I am a doctor, comma, not an engineer. Now we have those same two contrasting pieces of information together in one sentence, introducing the coordinate element with a comma, and we've only got 7 words in this context. Hopefully that was clear, but if you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments section below, and we'll do our very best to provide you with an answer in a timely fashion. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.